Whoa. We're gonna try and make that yolk that everyone's making. Hey guys, I'm Candace, the Edgy Veg, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Hello. I had been sent this article about the Crossroads Kitchen egg just constantly. I was sitting on it. I saw then that Sauce Stache, wonderful friend over at Sauce Stache, actually was sent the same article and made the video. So I was intrigued. We are going to try and make an egg yolk that is vegan, that is sphere, that you can break open like a normal egg yolk. So this is not a new concept. This is not a new thing. My friend Doug McNish here in Toronto has created an egg yolk for his restaurant Mythology. He's been doing it for years. I think back in 2013 when the Veg became a new product, they actually sent me all the stuff to do this as well. So it's not a new concept. I actually haven't tried it for myself. I know how it works. I know the science behind it. I just haven't done it myself. I was actually supposed to film this last week and forgot that I had to let the gel that we're going to use sit overnight, so we couldn't do it. So we're doing it now, woo! So I'm gonna follow Sauce Stache's recipe to see what he did, but I'm also going to use some of my know-how to make like the most eggy thing that I possibly can. Now, if I can get the spherification to work, I am then going to try and make a fried egg. Crossroads Kitchen uses orange tomatoes. Sauce Stache used a combination of yellow and red. I found orange tomatoes. Well, Molly did. So we're going to use that today. I'm a little concerned about the sweetness of the tomato, if that's really going to come through in the sauce, but we'll see how it goes. I also want the recipe to be nice and creamy, so I didn't see anyone else doing this, but I'm going to try adding a little bit of silken tofu to kind of mellow the color of the egg yolk and also make it kind of like creamy and give that mouthfeel that a yolk has. For the sulfuric egg flavor, we are going to use black salt as usual, also known as kala namak, which is an Indian salt that has a very sulfuric smell and taste. So what it will do is just add a sulfur taste to whatever you cook it with, making it the perfect ingredient for a vegan egg. If I don't like the color, I'm going to try and fine tune it with turmeric, which I do in my tofu scramble all the time. I'm going to use the ingredients that I would use for a vegan hollandaise or a tofu scramble, which is nutritional yeast, salt, pepper, mustard powder, and oil. For the spherification, I've gone ahead and created a jelly using sodium alginate and distilled water. It broke my heart that I had to buy a water bottle, but here we are. You need the distilled water because you don't want any of the chemicals or minerals in tap water. You have to do this overnight because you need all the bubbles from the blender to rise to the surface and disperse and leave the gel itself, or else you will not get the desired effect that you want. And in the mixture that I'm going to make here, I'm going to be adding calcium lactate. You can also use calcium citrate, I believe. It's going to create a chemical reaction with the sodium alginate and create a membrane around the liquid. We will have a yolk. So we'll see how this goes. The first thing I'm going to do is rub my orange tomatoes with oil and cook them in the oven at 300 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 minutes and then turn them and cook them for another 15. I've gone ahead and done that. That's what I have here. Let's figure this out together. I hope it works. So I have my high power blender here. I have a Vitamix, a Blendtec will work as well. If you don't have a high powered blender, you might want to remove the skins from the tomatoes. So I'm just gonna go ahead and remove this little bit here. It's kind of hard. So I just kind of lifted that out, and then what you're left with is just this like hollow tomato. My major concern with this recipe is that you are going to end up with something that's a little too sweet for a yolk. Oop, there we go. This yolk is going to look like those yolks from like backyard hens that are like super organic and orange that people have. All right, I'm gonna set this aside and wash my hands. In the video, Sauce Stache, Mark blends the tomatoes together first. I'm going to turn this blender back on, and while it's blending, I'm going to add some olive oil. This will add a nice mouthfeel, and while that's blending, I'm also going to add, actually, you know what? I'm gonna see how it tastes without the tofu, according to how Mark does it in his video, and then if I still don't think that the mouthfeel is there, then I'll add the tofu. While this is blending, I'm still going to be adding more ingredients. So I'm going to add my mustard powder, my nutritional yeast, and then my white pepper. And then I'm going to give it a little taste and see if I need to add the tofu. All right, so right off the bat, it's looking a little thick, which is what I was concerned about. I'm gonna use the spoon and not my finger. Yeah, it's really acidic from the tomatoes. All right, so what I'm going to do is add some silken tofu and see if I can mellow that out a little bit. So I have about a 1/4 cup. I guess I'll start with a 1/4 cup. I'm gonna go in with my black salt and add about a tablespoon. I really should get like ground black salt so I don't have to constantly do this. Okay, so I've added about 1/2 cup of silken tofu. Let's see if this helps. All right, the texture is definitely better. Pretty close. It definitely needs more black salt. We're at 2 teaspoons of black salt now. I would have definitely muted the mustard powder to like 1/2 teaspoon. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of the calcium lactate. And this is what's going to cause the chemical reaction to happen with the algae that we're going to use in a sec. So, okay. We're definitely getting somewhere. There's something acidic. I don't remember egg yolks to be acidic. In terms of consistency, I definitely think that I'm gonna add a little bit of soy milk just because I find that it's definitely not runny enough. Maybe I'll start with 2 tablespoons. So Mark used calcium chloride in his, and I'm using, what did I just say? Calcium lactate. So calcium chloride does have a bit of a salty flavor. Oh my God, it's way better. So I'm going to add a little bit of normal salts as well. The one that I'm using, calcium lactate, has no flavor at all. And then that should be good to go. What you end up with. I mean, it could be a little bit darker and a little bit runnier. I just think I'm getting like really uber specific now. I could keep going at this all day, but I think that's pretty good. So I'm gonna run this through a mesh sieve like Mark does. I guess maybe this is a great step if you don't have a high-speed blender. I think maybe that was just a unnecessary step for us. So he puts this in the fridge to cool down a little bit and to kind of let the bubbles come to the surface, and you can definitely do that by dropping it on your counter to kind of let the bubbles release and come to the surface. Obviously no one wants a cold yolk, so we don't want it to cool down a lot, just a little bit so that we can manipulate it and, you know, move it around. So because I do want to try and make a fried egg with a runny yolk, I'm going to use a couple of things that I've learned over the years in making a vegan egg and just kind of wing it. So for the kind of white part, the egg white of the egg, I'm going to use silken tofu, kind of mix everything together in a blender. Now I'm going to need something to firm this up a little bit, I think. I've used like medium tofu and cut it into round shapes and then fried it. So I know that the tofu at the end, like at the edges, will get that like fried egg look. To give it some structural integrity, I think I'm going to use, well, let's start with some rice flour. I think rice flour will help. If we really need it to firm up, like if I do a tester, then we'll use some cornstarch as well. If we need it to be more liquidy or even like a little bit more gelatinous, I'm going to add some soy milk. Okay, so we're just gonna start with this and see how it goes. All right, I'm not adding any sort of spices to this because the white part of an egg doesn't really have any flavor to it. I think the texture actually is pretty good. I'm going to do a little tester. I'm going to add a little bit of just normal, like pink sea salt. All right, I'm going to heat up some coconut oil. All right, let's do a little tester and see. That should be enough. What I'm worried about is, can I flip it? All right, so it's not really staying together when I try and flip it. It definitely has the taste that I want. It has like a really creamy taste like a normal egg white would have. I don't know where I put my lid, but I'm going to add 1 more tablespoon of the rice flour. Maybe I'll add 2 actually. Give that a blend and try it again. All right, so I'm swirling some oil around it and it definitely, like the bottom looks like it's going to get there. All right, let's see. I mean, that's pretty damn close. Like, look at the bottom. I was kind of expecting it to almost be like nothingness, but it's actually really creamy. Okay, we have our egg whites here. I put some on like an English muffin to get like a nice like open face sandwich vibe. So now what I'm going to do is I have this like a coffee scoop coffee and tea scoop. I'm going to use that. Move the egg yolk into our alginate, which doesn't have any bubbles in it because I let it sit for many days. And then use our spoons to like quickly move everything on top of it, form a barrier, and then put it into ice cold water. Will stop the chemical reaction from happening. So what's going to happen is the calcium lactate is going to react with the alginate to create a barrier. So let's see if we can make this happen. So I'm going to put it in the middle of my bath here. And then very quickly move this over top to create a sphere. I feel like this is going to take some practice. I mean, that's pretty good. I'm going to let that sit for about 30 seconds. It's been 30 seconds. Oh my God. Okay. All right, I see you. Okay, and then put it into, oh my gosh, look at that. Not the shape of a yolk, but that's okay. I mean, now I know that we can do it. Oh, this is so exciting. I love when things work. Whoa. All right, my last idea is to use, I have the syringe. I'm gonna fill the syringe. I wanna see if I can get it like into the gel really quickly. I'm gonna push it down. Oh, okay. Guys, we're learning together. This is fun. Science is cool. Okay, so let's push. I mean, I definitely feel like I got a better shape doing it like this. You definitely need some patience, that's for sure. I mean, it's definitely a novelty thing. Oh my gosh, we made eggs. Okay guys, we've done it. This is freaking crazy. I'm so excited. I mean, obviously I have a couple changes. Next time I would use way less pepper. I just found it was like a little too spicy. I would also probably use a bit less mustard powder. I would use more oil, I think, to make it a little bit runnier. But like the combination of the yolk with this white egg part is just, like, it's wild. It's so good. What I am curious to find out, if I was to add the egg white to a pan and then immediately put the egg yolk on top and maybe put a little bit more of the white and then put it on a breakfast sandwich so that when you like cut it, or like a breakfast burger and cut it and have like that oozing out, I wonder if that would work. This was an experiment today, but the full recipe to this, as always, will be in the description box down below. Yeah, if you like this video, guys, give it a huge thumbs up. I'm blown away. This is crazy. Let me know in the comment section below what videos you guys want to see next, what recipes you want me to veganize. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button because I make new videos every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. All right. This is wild. And I'll see you next time. Bye.